Week 12 is here, guys. It is done. It's over. This is my last check-in, at least for this round of the Artist Way. I can't believe it's been 3 months of this program and dedicating myself to creative rehabilitation. Really is what best describes the journey that I've gone on. And boy, before I get to the end of kind of like just all the pleasantries, we can go over what week 12 was about, and we can go over what the themes of week 12 were supposed to be. My cat says hello. Week 12. In this final week, we acknowledge the inherently mysterious spiritual heart of creativity. We address the fact that creativity requires receptivity and profound trust, capacities we have developed through our work in this course. We set our creative aims and take a special look at last-minute sabotage. We renew our commitment to the use of the tools. So, if I could summarize week 12 in one word, it would be humbling. Do you want to say hi? Okay. If I grab her and bring her to the camera, maybe she'll stop crying, but that's very not likely. I just fed her dinner. I don't know what her problem is. Okay. It was humbling. This past week was kind of, it didn't really turn out and pan out the way that I had thought everything would go. I'm not going to get into it, but essentially some very poor planning and poor preparation on my part actually led to what was unintentional self-sabotage. And it resulted in something pretty consequential, not life-threatening and definitely not existential, but it set me back. It set me back quite a few steps from a goal that I was meant to achieve. The good thing is that this consequence that I have been suffering, I escaped by the skin of my teeth. It could have been a lot worse. I was lucky to get what I did out of it. But man, there was still a big L on my part. So had to emotionally move through that. That was very tough, but I think I'm on the other end of it now that it's a brand new week, and the world keeps spinning, the world keeps turning. Just because I failed at a certain step in the process doesn't mean the whole process had failed. It just means I just have to work a little harder and be way more careful next time, because I knew better. It was one of those mistakes of like, you knew better. You knew better. Now you know better for next time, And that, it takes a bit of, I really had to look at my own pride, I feel like this journey that I've been on, of just working so hard and trying to be the best self that I can, it's just been going so well over the last few months. And one stupid mistake was able to, humble me. And it's just a reminder that your path, my path to success, was never going to be linear, and if anything, setbacks or challenges. I think of the universe asking me, do you really want this? How badly do you want this? I know you want it because it's going well for you, but what happens when it's not going well? How bad do you want a goal to be completed even when things don't go your way? And that was a question I sincerely had to have a one-on-one with myself, man. it was fucking hurtful. And I can't say that I did everything that I could have done because I actually didn't. And my lack of attention to detail has been a huge challenge for me. I am such an Aries. I just want to get things done and I have a trillion things to do. And, I'll hit the biggest projects out of the park, but with one small detail, it could literally derail the whole thing and I fail miraculously. But again, it wasn't too terrible. I can move on. I'm just a little scuffed up. It's all. This was a wake up call. when the universe lets you get by the skin of your teeth, this is like a warning call. The sirens of saying, babe, if you don't get your shit together for real, like if you don't lock the fuck in, bigger consequences are afoot. And I said, oh. Oh my God. And laundry's done. Anyway, that was week 12. It's also coming off of a Scorpio full moon, which was yesterday. And yesterday was crazy. So I couldn't sleep at all last night. I ended up waking up at 2:30 in the morning and it was pretty hot in the room. So what I wanted to do, I just wanted to open the windows and open the fans really briefly before I went to bed. But I just wanted to clear the air out because I'd also been cooking the night before. Like I'd used the oven pretty intensely and it still smelled like food in the house. And I just hate that because my apartment is already a fucking million years old. So any smell that lingers, it's just intensified by the ancient home that I live in. But anyways, so I woke up at 2:30 in the morning and I opened the blinds to open the windows and I saw coyotes outside of my apartment, which, I live in Chicago, the city of Chicago, and these are not abnormal. I've heard people see coyotes. I've heard of people seeing coyotes out in the wild, like by the park, sometimes in Millennium Park at night. I just have never seen them. And there were at least 3 coyotes on my front yard of the apartment that I live in. It was kind of crazy. I was like, is that a dog? Because they just look like really skinny dogs. They're kind of freaky looking. No offense to the coyote community. I'm sure you guys are great. They're not invasive species. If anything, they're just lost. Poor babies. But I was kind of freaked out about it because I'm like, what the fuck is that? Is that a wolf? Is that a coyote? Is that a fox? God bless any bunnies and rabbits that were out at 2:30 in the morning when they should not have been because they definitely got eaten. But yeah, I just saw those coyotes at 2:30 in the morning and I was like, this is too much. This is too much. And I just couldn't sleep. So, yeah, I am tired. I'm tired. But it'll be okay. I got some fun books. Let me grab them actually really quick. Actually, yeah, no, I'm going to grab them. You can come with me. Here's some books. Because I'm really wanting to get back into reading. I used to be such an avid reader. And I still am. I can still consider myself a pretty avid reader. But school, I haven't been really wanting to do any of my own reading because school already has so much reading. I'm like, I don't have the energy to read fiction books or any books on my own right now, other than The Artist's Way, of course. So, let's talk about a book that I just got done reading. I literally read this within, maybe it was 24 hours, within 48 hours. So I read this book. My boyfriend actually recommended this for me. It was called Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. Negotiating as if your life depended on it. So essentially, this guy, Chris Voss, is or was a retired FBI hostage negotiator. So he negotiated pretty intensely in hostage situations for many years, and so he wrote a book about negotiation, and so I thought it was pretty interesting. And speaking of that, guess who's home? Hi, Simon. But yeah, so that's what the book was about. So I was really interested in that. Finished that up today, and then I actually went to the bookstore yesterday with a friend, and I picked up 3 different new books that are in my queue, and I'm hoping to finish them within a month because I have a month-long break to just have a break from school and not have to dive into anything academic. So the first book that I got was called Rouge by Mona Awad. I've actually read her book Bunny, and I have it with me. The book was okay. I enjoyed it. I thought the writing style was really interesting and unique. I wasn't the biggest fan of the plot. I gave that book like a 7 out of 10, but I'm intrigued by this cover, and I'm really intrigued by the subject of the book, so this will be my next read. The read after that will be, this was actually part of the book deal. What they were doing at my bookstore is that there's a display shelf for recommendations, and if you bought one of the recommended books, the bookstore was going to give you another book for free. Great deal. So anyways, another book I got was called Anti-Intellectualism in American Life by Richard Hofstadter, and this was actually written in 1964. So despite the modern looking cover, this looks like it could have been written today. It was actually published in the 60s, and that's actually what drew me in the most, because while there's lots of talk of anti-intellectualism as it pertains today, you hear that word being thrown back and forth. I'm not so interested in what people have to say about today's anti-intellectualism, because I feel like it's just regurgitation of what prior generations have already broken down, obviously with different circumstances. But I think the idea of anti-intellectualism is the same. The core of it, the core issue is still unchanging. So this is why it made me much more interested in getting this book, because it was published in the 60s. I'm interested in seeing what ideas were around at the time, and if any of, future predictions that he may or may not make might apply in 2025. So this will be the next one. And then the last book, this one's a thick one, and I want any guesses at all. Dante's Divine Comedy. So I've actually read Inferno. I read that in full in high school, when I was a senior in high school, and I actually revisited the Divine Comedy again during a college course that I took. So I found this deal. It's not too bad. This is only $30 for this big chunky book. Maybe that's standard price. But it has the whole, like, all three poems, or all 3, what do they call it? Cantos? Girl, I don't fucking know. It has Inferno, Purgatorio, and Paradiso. Love Dante. This man, I can't get enough of him. And so I wanted to read the full writing. Of course, it's translated into English. It's not Italian. So, translation is betrayal, as the Shogun had said before. But you'll get a good idea of what he was talking about. So, despite the chaos, absolute chaos, and just me taking L after L this past week, I'm really looking forward into just like diving inward and having a break. Really having a break and just having some time for myself. And that to me means enrichment time. And that enrichment time is in books, because I've always been a book nerd since I was a kid. Loved reading nonfiction books, actually. I was not a very big fiction book reader when I was in elementary or middle school. And it wasn't until maybe late middle school into high school that I started to get into fiction, YA, and series books. I used to love, 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 love reading. Like I would go to the library every week, every day sometimes, and get books. And well into my adulthood, I've continued reading. I have a pretty good, extensive book collection, but it's just stopped because of school. Because I'm like, girl, I have so much reading to do already. So now that I'm done with The Artist's Way, for now, I'm really excited to, I'm like out of breath. I can't even stop. Hold on. Let me just. The Artist's Way. I'm very excited to take the principles that I've learned from this course into real life. I know that it's not going to be an immediate overnight change. I knew that going into this program, but I'm so grateful for the lessons and the different viewpoints it's taught me on, challenged me on, and I'm actually really glad that I started to do these video diaries because I get to like look back and see and maybe be embarrassed a little bit about what I was going through during this 3-month period. But that's it. That's all I had to say. I'm hungry. And maybe I'll see you guys next time.